Wow, you guys really want me to talk about SpongeBob, don't you? Sometimes I post a vote on my channel asking people what they want me to cover next, and SpongeBob soaked up the victory with over 70%. Well, I'm not scared. When SpongeBob first washed onto the show in 1999, I was right there at the beginning. Some of my friends were crazy about it, but was I crazy about it too? Well, not exactly. It's hard to explain. I liked watching SpongeBob, sure, but I wasn't obsessed with it like some other people. Maybe it was because I was more of a Cartoon Network kid. Maybe I found it easier to relate to the childhood dilemmas of Ed, Edd and Eddy more than the oddly work-related world of SpongeBob. It's just one of those things. But now that I'm older, how has SpongeBob aged himself? Well, I have a tape of the show right here, so let's find out. This one is called Sponge Buddies, and it promises 5 tickling tales. I'm splitting my sides already. Time to dive right in and have ourselves a giggle. This tape was released by Paramount Home Entertainment, and I have to say, when it comes to VHS openings, these guys had the classiest one going. It's like the perfect way to put you in the mood for watching a movie, with jazzy music and shots of all these film reels spooling everywhere. You can't beat it. I mean, other studios might have their iconic logos, but this is on another level. It even makes the copyright warning look cool. How do you make a copyright warning look cool? Well, somehow they found a way, and despite being made in the dying days of VHS, it stands as one of the best openings in the history of the format. You don't get stuff like this on Netflix. But on to the trailers, and the first one is for the Wild Thornberrys movie, a theatrical spin-off of the cartoon. It seemed like pretty much every Nickelodeon show was being made into a movie around this time, and this was no exception.
Let's race!
You're so just old.
Talk like a monkey, dress like a geek. Yeah, you get used to it.
Actually, I remember this movie being pretty decent, so maybe I'll talk about it in more detail another time. But one funny thing about the trailer is that it uses the music from Disney's Dinosaur, which is kind of weird.
Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon Movies present an epic adventure that will take you to the ends of the earth.
This definitely isn't a Disney movie, but it's one of those weird trailer quirks that music can sometimes get shuffled around and reused in other places.
The Wild Thornberrys movie.
Donnie, this is no time for the wedgie dance. Whoa.
The next trailer is for Hey Arnold, the movie, another Nickelodeon spin-off based on the show about a boy with an oddly shaped head who for some reason liked to walk around wearing a kilt. Well, actually, it's his shirt, so we can finally put that myth to rest.
One young hero has got a plan to save his neighborhood.
We'll have a concert. The music will be so loud that we'd end up on the news. Yeah!
This film was actually only supposed to be released straight to video, but eventually they decided to put it up on the big screen, and you can tell they had to jazz it up a bit with all these action scenes and early 2000s hip-hop music. Definitely a product of its time, especially the slogan at the end.
When you think action, think Arnold.
When you think action, do you think Arnold? You'd better.
Hey Arnold, the movie.
Next, a slightly more relaxed promo for Rugrats, the baby-themed TV show that probably made a lot of people's childhoods.
Tommy, Chucky, Bill, and Lil, Angelica, Susie, Spike, and Dill.
You don't need me to tell you that it's a classic, and they must have released about 100 tapes of this show over the years. Even this promo feels like it's some kind of subliminal message telling us it's the only show we should watch.
You can watch again and again. Again and again.
I don't know about you, but I think I'm gonna watch it again and again.
Rugrats, yours to own on video.
Blue's Clues is now available to own on video.
Ah, Blue's Clues. If you were 3 or 4 years old, this was probably the best show ever made. Running around a cartoon house looking for clues with a blue dog, you might as well just glue my eyes to the screen already.
Can you spot them?
If you see any clues, just shout.
A clue! A clue!
The odd thing is that here in the UK, we actually had our very own version of the show, where the host was called Kevin, whereas in the US, it was Steve. Well, when I was a kid, I had no idea who Steve was, and as far as I'm concerned, it's Kevin all the way. He was an amazing host, and some of his most famous quotes will stay with me forever.
Blues Clues is my favorite game.
Mine too, side table draw.
Now there's one last trailer, which seems to take place in some kind of psychologist's office.
It's just that I have all these feelings I want to express and everything's been kept locked up inside me. Until now. You are the first person I've ever known who really understands me.
I'm glad I can help, Spike.
Yes, it's another teaser, this time for the Rugrats Meet the Wild Thornberrys, which eventually became Rugrats Go Wild, making this a rare case of a movie being marketed under a completely different title.
Eliza, Tommy, Darwin, Chucky, Johnny, Phil and Lil, Debbie, Susie, Angelica, and featuring the voice of Bruce Willis as Spike.
A fun idea for a trailer though, since obviously in Rugrats, Spike was just a dog who couldn't speak, but now he can because Eliza from the Wild Thornberrys has the power to talk to animals, so there's one way to market your crossover.
I am so grateful. I don't know whether to give you a big kiss or just slobber all over you from top to bottom.
A kiss would be fine.
Maybe she should specialize in dog therapy. I know a couple other mutts who could use it.
Who wants a tongue bath?
But hey, SpongeBob time, right? Nope, not yet. First we have to sit through a bumper for Nickelodeon, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's just a pair of kids running around in some kind of giant garden maze. Does it have anything to do with the cartoons on Nickelodeon? No. Was this a show? No. It's devoid of meaning. Unless it's trying to say that watching Nickelodeon is like being trapped in some kind of maze of unending joy? I have no idea. Stuff like this is the reason my brain is turning into jam. But now, finally...
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Yes, the Sponge Boy is here. This intro is like a slap of silly straight to your face, promising SpongeBob, SpongeBob, and even more SpongeBob. This tape contains 5 friendship-themed episodes, and the first one is Jellyfishing, an early episode from the very first season, and it definitely shows. You can tell they were still in the early stages of working out the look and feel of the show, and everything is presented in glorious hand-drawn animation with painted backgrounds. Nothing digital here. Anyway, our hero, of course, is SpongeBob, a happy-go-lucky sponge who has the mind of a child, yet still somehow manages to hold down a steady job and has a decent step on the property ladder. He lives in a pineapple under the sea in the quaint underwater town of Bikini Bottom, which offers a great sea view, high-class cuisine, and a name that somehow didn't get censored. Go 2 doors down, and you'll find Patrick Star, SpongeBob's best friend. And if you think SpongeBob is dumber than a box of rocks, well, Patrick lives under a rock, so that should tell you all you need to know about him.
Gee, Patrick, I didn't know you spoke bird.
No, that's Italian, SpongeBob.
SpongeBob and Patrick don't like fishing, they like jellyfishing, and they set off into the wild to spend an afternoon stalking their prey. However, they end up attracting the attention of their grumpy next-door neighbor and my personal favorite character in the show, Squidward.
Hey, Squidward! We're jellyfishing.
Of course you are. Bye now.
I love this guy. He's bitter, twisted, and miserable, making him the perfect foil for a pair of dimwits like SpongeBob and Patrick.
I can't think of anything I'd love to do more on my day off than go jellyfishing with my 2 best friends. But I can't. Bye-bye.
Squidward tries to escape the 2 morons, but when he gets attacked by a jellyfish, he suffers a minor accident, and it's SpongeBob and Patrick who have to take care of him.
Welcome home, Squidward!
Merry Christmas!
And the rest of the episode is pretty much Squidward being tortured. It's almost like SpongeBob and Patrick become the bad guys here, as Squidward is covered in boiling hot soup. has to watch as SpongeBob slobbers all over his precious clarinet, and even gets stabbed through the hand.
Firmly grasp it!
Pain is funny. I guess it's easy to feel sorry for Squidward, but to be honest, the more he suffers, the funnier this gets, especially when a giant jellyfish stings him at the end.
Ow.
The next episode is Dying for Pie, and if you thought Squidward getting tortured was too much, well, this one gives him an opportunity for some revenge. This one takes place at the Krusty Krab, the local restaurant where SpongeBob works as a fry cook with Squidward. You can just tell how happy it makes him.
Good morning, Mr. Squidward.
The place is run by Mr. Krabs, a crazy crab who's obsessed with money, and he forces Squidward to get SpongeBob a gift, so he buys an exploding pie off some pirates?
They were made in a factory. A bomb factory. They're bombs.
If there's an explanation for this, I can't find it. When SpongeBob eats the pie, it means he'll be dead by sundown, so Squidward has to make sure he has the best day ever.
I'm gonna make SpongeBob's final hours the best he's ever had.
Despite the dark plot, it does show that Squidward has a heart after all, and he basically lets SpongeBob humiliate him for the entire day.
Hey kids, check it out! This is my best friend, Squidward!
But it all comes to an end with a rather morbid scene on a hilltop, where SpongeBob finally meets his maker.
If I were to die right now, in some sort of fiery explosion due to the carelessness of a friend, well, that'd just be okay.
Charming. But it turns out SpongeBob never ate the pie after all, and he was just saving it to share with Squidward. Aw, what a sweet episode. Are you sure this isn't the series finale? Well, apparently not, since next up is Wormy, where SpongeBob and Patrick are visiting Sandy Cheeks, a Texan squirrel who owns a giant research dome, and also wears a bikini indoors to preserve her modesty. That's funny.
And this here Snakey,
What's that lump in his belly?
well, that's his dinner. Well, I guess that's it. I gotta go.
Since she's leaving town to go look for some nuts or something, SpongeBob and Patrick are tasked with looking after her test subjects, one of which is Wormy.
Aw, look, isn't he just precious?
They grow pretty attached to this thing, and basically have the time of their lives, but when Wormy turns into a butterfly, they suddenly see him as some kind of hideous monster. Ah! Is this a horror movie or a cartoon?
What is that thing?
I don't know, Patrick. But whatever it is, it must have eaten Wormy!
So apparently, a giant jellyfish and a squirrel in a spacesuit is just fine to these two, but when it comes to a butterfly, the boys go insane. Every attempt to catch the butterfly ends in disaster, and it even escapes into the Krusty Krab.
It's gonna eat Squidward and Mr. Krabs!
In the deck, Mr. Krabs!
Now the whole town starts freaking out like they're in a Godzilla film. Talk about the butterfly effect. But the day is saved when Sandy returns and puts the butterfly back in its jar.
Oh, hey there, Wormy. You weren't supposed to change till I got back. That ought to hold you, little guy.
It's really saying something when a rodent dressed like an astronaut is the only sensible thing in this show. Next up, F.U.N, or Fun for short, where we get to meet the main villain of the show, Plankton.
Finally, victory is mine. I win! I win! I win!
He's another classic character, straight from the evil genius school of villainy, and he runs the Chum Bucket, a restaurant that never has any customers, so Plankton's goal is to steal the secret Krabby Patty formula so he can make his own delicious burgers. Seems like a decent use of his time. When Plankton springs his latest plan, it's SpongeBob to the rescue, and he manages to stop Plankton before he can get away with the secret formula.
We're gonna make this kid Honorary Town Rookie of the Day.
Wait, why is Squidward so happy for SpongeBob here? It feels weird not seeing him miserable. Plankton gets so depressed by his failure that SpongeBob starts to feel sorry for him, and he decides to become his friend.
Hi, Mr. Plankton.
Haven't you degraded me enough for one day?
Plankton tells SpongeBob where to stick it, but reconsiders things after taking some advice from his wife, Karen, who just so happens to be a giant computer.
Friend the SpongeBob. Then, when the timing is just right, take the Krabby Patty.
Makes sense to me. So Plankton pretends to be SpongeBob's buddy, and we even get a song about friendship.
F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere and anytime at all.
Down here in the deep blue sea.
SpongeBob's charm gets through to Plankton, and they actually end up becoming real friends.
You're forgetting the mission.
What are you talking about?
You're going native, Plankton. Look at yourself.
What?
What is it about this sponge? Is he just some kind of magnet for happiness? But Mr. Krabs smells a rat and tries to tempt Plankton with a delicious Krabby Patty right under his nose.
Look at the lust in his eye.
Why can't you just accept our friendship?
He's just after me recipe.
I'll eat it if you want. Of course, Plankton falls for the bait, and when he takes SpongeBob on a date to the cinema, he reveals that he's been playing him like a fiddle this whole time.
I couldn't help it.
But we sang the fun song. I think I'm gonna be sick.
The truth might be crushing for SpongeBob, but it turns out to be even more crushing for Plankton.
Being evil is too much fun.
He won.
Oh, no, he didn't, boy. Don't you know what's behind these screens? Solid concrete.
Next time, make sure there's a door before you try to run through a wall. So the last episode on the tape is Club SpongeBob, and this one is just weird. SpongeBob and Patrick have set up some kind of clubhouse at the top of a beanstalk, and Squidward wants to get in.
You should be begging me to join.
Wait, no, stop, Steve.
Now, you'd think that would be a simple plot, but things take a complete 180 when the clubhouse gets launched into the air, and they end up in the middle of nowhere, where, of course, Squidward gets all the best lines.
Oh, why must every 11 minutes of my life be filled with misery? Why?
Now, it's a survival story, right? Well, no, since SpongeBob and Patrick refuse to do anything because of a plastic conch that tells them what to do, and for some reason they're bound to listen to it, almost like it's some kind of mystical object or god.
Oh, magic conch shell, what do we need to do to get out of the kelp forest?
Nothing.
The shell has spoken.
As you might expect, Squidward reacts quite rationally to this development, but when the conch turns out to be right, he tries to make it work for himself.
Could I have something to eat?
No.
Could I have something to eat?
No.
Could I have something to eat?
No.
So Squidward begins to starve, but then a fish dressed like Indiana Jones walks in, and he has his own conch, and yeah, I haven't got a clue what's going on in this episode. This is kind of coming full circle with that Nick thing from before.
Oh, hail the magic conch!
But after everyone sits down to worship the mighty conch, that's it, and we're treated to 5 straight minutes of credits, where every episode has its own individual credit sequence. I'm not even joking. I guess at least you can say the SpongeBob legal department was thorough. So there you have it, SpongeBob Sponge Buddies. I'd say it was a decent mix of episodes overall. F.U.N. and the Pie episode were probably my favourites, because they focus on exploring the characters a bit more. Wormy was great for its crazy cartoon anarchy. Jellyfishing was more slower paced, but understandable given they were still working out the feel of the show. And as for Club SpongeBob, yeah, weird. But in watching this, it's easy to see why SpongeBob is such a unique and endearing show, even after all these years. It's F.U.N. for everyone. Thanks for watching this video, and look out for more VHS tapes coming soon. Are you enjoying the series? Do you have any thoughts? What tapes would you like to see covered next? Let me know in the comments. Remember, you can vote for upcoming episodes in the community tab, and please like and subscribe to the Back to the Past YouTube channel for more outdated content coming soon.